In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make the robot stay within a certain area that's outlined by a black line. It builds upon the previous tutorial, which was stop at a black line, and many of the code blocks that you used in that tutorial will also help you with what I call the black box. So I'm going to begin by creating a new program right here. I'm going to call it black box. And I'm going to click go. And what I want the robot to do is continuously move inside of a certain area that's outlined by a black box. When it sees a black line, what I want the robot to do is to pause and then turn. And then once it's turned, continue on its journey going forward. So the first block that I'm going to add is a move block. This is just like the one in the previous tutorial. So I want it to constantly be going forward, so I'm not going to choose a duration of one rotation. I'm going to choose unlimited. I'm also going to bring my speed down to about 50. I'm going to include a weight based on the light sensor. That's another one we're going to use. So I'm going to drag it up. And this one we are going to keep it just like the one before. So it's going to be less than, let's make this 60. And what that's saying is it needs to wait when it sees a value that's less than 60 or a black line. And then the final thing I want it to do is I want it to turn when it sees a black line so that it stays within the enclosed area. This is different from the previous tutorial. I'm going to grab another move block. And instead of having it totally stop, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it turn. So this is going to be the action right after it sees the black line. I'm going to have it turn. I'm going to drop this down to 50. And I'm going to keep it at one rotation, because if I did it unlimited, it would just start turning in a circle and never stop. But one rotation, or maybe even, could do maybe 75 hundredths of a rotation. So 3/4 of a turn would work as well. You can play around with the number of rotations. So right now, what's going to happen is it's going to turn on the motors. It's going to keep going. When it sees a black line, it's going to turn. But it's only going to do it once. And I want this program to continuously check for black lines. So I'm going to add one final thing, something called a loop. And a loop does just what the name implies. It continuously runs up whatever is inside of it. In this case, there's nothing. But if I drag this up, I'm going to put it at the beginning, and then I'm going to add these blocks inside of it. And what this is going to do is, when the program starts, it's going to continuously do everything that's in here. So it's going to turn the motors on, it's going to pause if it sees a black line, and then it's going to turn, and then it's going to start all the way back over, turn on the motors, look for a black line, turn, and then it'll just keep going in this loop and never stop. So that's how you would make a program that stayed within an enclosed area outlined by a black shape.